So what was next for Osama bin Laden? What was he thinking before he was captured and killed by those U.S. Navy SEALs? Though hunted and in hiding, Osama bin Laden remained the driving force behind every recent al-Qaeda terror plot, according to U.S. officials. They've been looking at his private journal and other documents recovered in the raid. And until the SEALs killed him last week, bin Laden was dispensing chilling advice to the leaders of al-Qaeda groups from Yemen all the way to London. Hit Los Angeles, not just New York, he wrote. Target trains as well as planes. If possible, strike on significant dates like the 4th of July and the upcoming 10th anniversary of September 11. And above all, he urged, kill more Americans in a single attack to drive them from the Arab world. Bin Laden's written words now show that counter-terrorist officials worldwide underestimated how key he remained in running the operation. Conventional thinking was that he'd been reduced through isolation to being sort of an inspirational figurehead, but no. His personal handwritten journal and the massive collection of computer files show he helped plan every recent al-Qaeda threat. And not only in America, but in Europe as well. Embassies were on high alert. And no new plots have been uncovered in bin Laden's writings, but intelligence officials say it'll take weeks, months to go through all the information that they have in there. So there you have it. There's no evidence yet he was directly behind the Christmas Day attempted bombing of that Detroit-bound airliner or the nearly successful attack on cargo planes heading for Chicago and Philadelphia, but they do bear some of bin Laden's hallmarks. And he was well aware of U.S. counter-terrorist defenses, and he schooled his followers how to work around them. Don't limit attacks to New York City. Consider smaller cities. Spread out the targets, was the advice of Osama bin Laden. Bin Laden's writings show him musing over just how many Americans he'd have to kill before the U.S. would withdraw from the Arab world. And he concluded that smaller scattered attacks not been enough. He wanted a body count of thousands, something on the scale of 9/11, he said. That would shift American policy in the Middle East. That was his thinking anyway. I don't know. I doubt that it would have. I think that's flawed thinking, but that's what he was thinking. Floodwaters from the Mississippi River are plaguing residents of the Magnolia State. Federal relief, though, is on the horizon for those 14 counties in Mississippi that are now a federal disaster area. And Tunica area is getting it very badly, I understand. You know, Tunica is a big casino town, but 11 miles from there at Tunica Crossing, I think it's called, those people may never get back in their homes again. The trial of a Nazi war crime suspect. Remember this guy from Ohio? Wasn't he near the Cleveland area? John Demjanjuk was taken back to Munich, and his trial is drawing to a close. It's been going on for 18 months in a Germany courtroom there. He's retired 91-year-old Ohio auto worker, and he's charged with being an accomplice in the death of thousands of Jews during World War II. The prosecution charges he was a guard at a death camp in Poland. His attorney disputes the charge, but can you imagine at the late age, he was in his late 80s, had lived a whole life in the United States as an auto worker in Cleveland, and they finally found him, took him back to Germany and tried him, and now it's coming to a close. We'll see what the verdict will be. A new survey indicates most Americans don't want the U.S. to become embroiled in what's happening in Syria. Nearly two-thirds of the respondents in a Rasmussen poll think the U.S. should steer clear of the uprising against the country's leader there. Syria, the next hotspot in the Middle East, and we'll ask Osama Sablani, the publisher of the Arab American News, about that as well, because Syria and Iran are thick as thieves, if you'll pardon the pun, and sometimes they put the squeeze on Lebanon right there in between. Mitt Romney is going to give a presentation at 2 o'clock today at the University of Michigan, their cardiovascular center in Ann Arbor. He's going to explain his health care reform ideas. Governor Rick Snyder was invited but cannot attend the event. Governor Snyder will join us later in this program. He gave his first ever Reinventing Michigan Award yesterday to Energetech, E-N-E-R-G-E-T-E-X, Energetex Composites in Holland, Michigan. As long as you know how to pronounce it, you can win the award. We'll give them, too, our Northwood University Leader of the Day award. Northwood University celebrating 51 years of producing leaders and celebrating free enterprise. So that company in Holland that I'm having trouble pronouncing, Not only gets the governor's award for reinventing Michigan, but gets our Northwood University Leader of the Day. Nergitect, I guess is what it is. I'll pass it over to you. All right, there's going to be a vote in the Senate, apparently, in Michigan here on the tax proposal. Yesterday, we heard Senator Whitmer say that Republicans probably didn't have the votes, but maybe something has changed. The plan backed by Governor Snyder would cut overall business taxes by about $1 billion in the fiscal year starting October 1st and $1.7 billion the following year. A key provision would replace the Michigan business tax with a 6% corporate income tax while eliminating many types of tax credits and exemptions. So we'll talk with the governor about that. A little bit later, this is the plan, I guess, that would also tax, remove the exemption on pensions for certain aging Michigan residents. Cleanup underway in some communities after a line of strong storms whipped across the West Michigan area overnight. Lightning strikes are blamed for a house fire in Grand Rapids, downed trees, and a damaged gas line in Granville. Power was knocked out in several cities in Ottawa County. The traffic signals disabled by storms, too. And this really happened again 2 times this week now. A child was left on a bus. This time, an autistic 3-year-old boy was left on a bus for 6 hours in the Kalamazoo area. The school officials there want to know how that could happen. The windows were up. The temperatures were nearly 100 degrees. The boy didn't get off the bus at his special needs school. He's treated for dehydration, expected to be okay. But the investigation is on into how that could happen. And some scary news coming up shortly about a man who tried to abduct an 11-year-old girl in Layton Township. The Allegan County Sheriff's deputies are looking for the man who tried to get her from the school bus when she got off. Black 4-door car. He offered the girl a ride. She refused and ran to a relative's house, and he drove away. 35 years old, dark hair, and large wire-rimmed glasses. It's Michael Patrick Shields, and it's Thursday.